All right, Pastor Flowers, here we're online. I'm going to wait till everybody catch up. Wait till our other computer break catches up. We're going to get started in just a few seconds. But we thank God for uh, the opportunity to come on live here again for another broadcast. Pastor, I don't know, is this the fifth or sixth? I don't know. It's something around there and stuff. But we're grateful for coming on. We thank God, and we're waiting for those who usually join us or those who are newly joining us to come on and be a part of. We believe and hope and pray that this be a blessing to those who are in relationships that are listening. And we just thank God. And again, we'll wait a couple more minutes, Pastor Flowers, for everything to catch on up. But I think what we ought to done and stuff, because I said this before we came on, is I go ahead and start the broadcast, and when the broadcast start, I introduce you, and you come on out. I can play some music, and you just come on out.
No,
and,
I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that's that's not.
You know
a
what?
good
I think that's what we're gonna do next time. We'll go ahead and.
That ain't gonna work.
I had some music for you to come on out, and you come on out and stuff. I stand up, shake your hand, and, shake your hand, and we'll go ahead and have some. Guess what else I could do?
What?
I can have some clapping in the background.
A clapping machine.
Like applaud, yeah.
Applause.
Yeah. So we'll get that done.
Okay.
All right.
Well, no.
You said okay.
No.
Now you can't keep changing mine. Amen. So we want to thank God again for you coming on tonight. We thank God for the direction of the teaching that we're going to talk about on tonight. Because
That's a good topic.
I do too, Pastor Flowers, and I'm praying that God will do exactly what we believe He will do, and that is to encourage it, Amen, and to bring it forth like He wants to bring it forth. Again, we're just waiting just a couple of more minutes. Trying to wait till my other computer catches up so we can see any questions or anything that someone may want to say that we may want to bring up or talk about. But it just should be about a couple more seconds, and we'll go ahead and get started. But I do, Pastor Flowers, I think the lesson that we're talking about tonight is important in reference to how relationships need to be carried out. Yeah. And I think
it talks a lot about fairness in relationships.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It balances out our expectations.
It balances, yes.
Because sometimes we can have expectations based on reality. We can have expectations that's based on no reality, and then we can have expectations based on our dysfunction.
Or selfishness.
Or selfishness, and that's part of our dysfunction. And if we get those things, if we balance these things out and stuff, and we do it right, and our expectations are fair, and we're allowed to hear and see and learn the other person that we're in, the expectation can be fulfilled, and everybody can be happy in a relationship. Yeah. And I also believe, Pastor Flowers, if our expectations are balanced and are based on reality, which means that everybody's not going to be perfect going into this relationship. The one that's wanting it, or both that's wanting it, both that have expectations, no matter how good your expectations may feel, your imperfections, if you're not honest and real with yourself, can absolutely get in the way. So we balance these things out with some reality about ourselves, that no matter what comes up or what goes, we can learn something from every issue or every challenge that we have. We can also learn something from how we work at getting to those expectations, what we need from each other in order to pull out those expectations or make those expectations.
I think sometimes it'd be good to find out exactly what you're going to expect of me.
Absolutely.
How much are you going to expect of me? And then can I meet that mark? Before you go really deep into a relationship, it might be good to check that out.
Most definitely.
You won't come a little bit later on, I didn't know he expected all that, or I didn't know she expected all that. Whereas if we go in knowing, then we'll have an idea what is expected.
Most definitely. And it's more than just verbally communicating what you expect. It's making sure that you're communicating or responding to what the other person is expecting as well. Because it's unfair. You're going to hear us say this several times. It's unfair to just have an expectation for someone or from someone, and you don't live up to their expectations towards you as well. That's unfair. That person then becomes, you're going to hear us say this again, I don't mean to move ahead of ourselves, but when one has an expectation for another, but don't live up to the expectation that the other has for them, then they become a slave to the one who's not working on their expectations. They become a slave to their dysfunction. So it's important. Let me get this right quick, Pastor Flowers. So it's important that in working this, that we're fair on both ends. We're living up to the expectations, working on our issues to get in way of expectations, and then realize when some of those expectations that we may be having towards another person is not fair.
No.
When it's not fair, we need to work on it.
And if it's not fair, then we need to be able to hear the other one. When the other one is saying, okay, this is foul.
Right.
This is not fair. You're expecting X, Y, Z from me. But if I try to expect X, Y, Z from you, I get the coldness.
Absolutely.
I get the shutout. I get the you're demanding too much. I get you're controlling. But yet and still you can do the same or require the same thing from me and expect me to do it.
Whoa. Yes. You know, one of the things, Pastor Faust, also, and we believe that we need to be as prepared as possible going into relationships.
Exactly.
And we need to be as healthy as we can to live up to the expectations that define a healthy relationship. But there's a reality in part of all this, and that is that as hard as we may try and as perfect as we may try to get to, there's some things that we're going to run into that's going to show our imperfection.
Of course.
So that means there's sometimes we don't put aside our expectations. We don't put aside our measure or our level of what we desire from a relationship. But we leave some room to work with the other person when they come up short with those expectations for a season. Now, we don't expect them to just live in it. We don't expect them to say, well, this is the way I am, you're going to accept it, and that's counterproductive to the relationship. We don't expect nobody just to settle in like that. But what we do expect us to always do is to be to work with the person that we're saying we're trying to build a healthy relationship with, so that all of us can get to a place where we're displaying a healthy part of our expectation.
Exactly.
And sometimes we don't do it. We go into with these strong, unbending, unflexible expectations that are sometimes are not even met by us on the other end. But in order to be satisfied or at least be settled in what we're not coming up to, we want to go ahead and push the other person to keep saying, you need to live up to this, or you need to do that, and stuff. And yes, we need to encourage and we need to motivate each other to do our best. But expectations are things that we work at. We set these things as goals and as acceptable measurements of maturity and show a sign that we're growing in our relationship.
And it's okay to expect something.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
What kind of relationship would it be if you're in a relationship and you can't expect nothing out of it? You're gonna feel like you're dropped.
Absolutely.
You know? Can't expect nothing out of them. You can't call them to the carpet for nothing. You can't fall on nothing, you know.
Absolutely. When we first got married, we had expectations, but our expectation, because of some levels of immaturity, we didn't know exactly what to expect. We didn't know exactly all things that was needed. We knew from our heart, not or from our minds. We knew from our minds what we should be looking for, and we had an expectation from the heart that sometimes wasn't healthy because sometimes it ministered to our fears.
Exactly.
And many times our expectations going into a relationship is not to build a relationship, but to keep us from being hurt.
Or expectation was, whereas I wanted you to minister to my shortcomings.
Right.
But I didn't minister back to your shortcomings.
Right.
It was all about I, me, and that's the way it's supposed to be.
Or I want you to minister to my shortcomings and deal with your issues.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Minister to you.
You got issues.
Right. Now I'm saying we're coming to a marriage, and I'm saying to you, I want you. Here's my expectation for you as a wife. And I want you to minister those expectations because I'm going up 2 levels of fear. I'm going up 2 levels of protecting myself. One, I want you to live up these expectations because I don't want to be disappointed and I don't want to be hurt. So that's 2 things I want you to guard me from. And thirdly, whatever level you want to put them in, I want you to deal with your issues. Because the reason why I want you to deal with those issues, because if you don't deal with them, those other 2 things I asked you to do, you're going to not do them and then I'm going to get hurt again. And then I don't want the responsibility to help you deal with your issues because I need you to protect me from them.
And while I'm protecting you from them, who's ministering to me?
See, and that's the reason. That's the problem.
While I'm meeting your needs, while I'm securing you, while I'm making you feel like you're okay in this, who's making me feel okay?
And you know what? That's the problem. When expectations have no flexibility or no maturity, and they're coming from a wrong place. If they're coming from the place of I want these because. And they have some legitimacy to them, but it can't come only from that place. And that means it can't come only from a place that I need you to work from these, or these expectations are here to keep me from being disappointed. And if they have a string line or attachment from experiences in the past that you haven't dealt with, then I'm not going to help you to deal with your issues. I'm not going to be patient with your issues because I need you to help me to hurry up and get away from the things that I haven't dealt with in other relationships. So my expectations are twofold. I don't want to be hurt. I don't want to be disappointed. And because of that, I need you to prove yourself to these expectations before I will step in and be flexible enough to help you to deal with your issues and help you to deal with your struggles. And so many times, somebody's left out. Somebody's left out, and they're a slave to somebody else's dysfunction, because their dysfunction or their expectations or acceptance is coming from a place that they haven't dealt with. You know, they're someone in a past relationship, and stuff. I'm gonna let you loose in a few seconds, son. Okay. Somebody in a past relationship, because we may be moving right into what you were thinking about. Somebody from a past relationship may have done some things to them, may have disappointed them, and they went into that relationship immature. Both of them went into it, and they exhibited that immaturity. They exhibited that problem. They exhibited that something was wrong, and stuff. And so they didn't handle it right. They got hurt. They got let down, they got rejected, and so forth and so on. And now here they're coming in this relationship, and they're going to make sure you don't do that to them, because they're putting a mandate on you that you respond to their expectations to keep the same thing from happening without them doing anything. You respond to the expectation as if you was the one who victimized. Absolutely. As if you was the one who hurt them. Absolutely. And now you have to respond. Now, what I had wrote down today, you know, that was some expectations that sometimes men and women have of each other. And I'm going to just read off a few of them. No problem, huh? And I just want you to respond to some of them. Okay. Some men and some women, one of their expectations is, what I want you to do is this here: love me, know me, respect me, and value me. Is that asking too much? No, except the first part. I want you to know me. Know me. Reason why that can be difficult is if all of this is to protect you and to keep you from getting hurt and to keep you from being rejected. If that's the basis of that, you have these walls up, and it's hard to get to know someone that you can't get into. And you know what's even harder? So what you're saying is, if you want me to know you, open up. Then make it easy for me to know you. Absolutely. So, even the areas that I'm afraid of. Absolutely. Be willing to open up and let you in to help me to minister and to deal with those areas. The worst thing you can do is buy a car for somebody's birthday and the owner realize they can't drive. Oh, wow. Okay. And you bring that car in the yard and you ask them, come on, I bought this car for you, let's go out there, let's go for a ride. And they look at you and say, I can't drive. And you may say, well, Pastor Ross, what do you mean? The hardest thing you can do is get into a relationship. You close the side of you that later you're going to need the support and help and nurturing to go get through it and stuff. And to that person has fallen in love with an image with you. And that image has come up to an expectation that seems to be acceptable. And you open up to them later in that relationship only to realize they can't respond to that. They can't respond. They can't respond. So now then that person is saying, you know, I got married because I wanted you to help me to heal in that area. And it's not fair for you to ask them to heal in that area or to minister to that area when they have to always try to pull the door open and it's closed tight. You're saying you can't come in but heal me. You can't come in but fix it. You can't come in but I need you to minister that area. You got to be willing to open up that area. You know, it is scary to open up an area and to allow, but you got to be willing with your mate, with your spouse. You got to be willing to open up and let them in if you're looking to be healed. You know, Pastor Fires, one of the other things is it's difficult that when you get to a place where you were just mentioned, you get to a place and things don't seem to be going that good because you're not closely connected as you thought you were, and you get to a place that where you start to open up to this person some areas in your life, but that you demanded them to first get to know you about, and you open up that area and you find out that they don't have the capacity and stuff, and then you tell them like the statement you said, but I got married because I needed someone that was strong to help me get healed in the areas that I can get you know, that I was hurt in, and they look at you and say, but you never gave me the opportunity to grow into this, to get to know this, or to let you know whether I could do it or not. Well, it's like whenever I came close to that door, you shut down. Shut down. And when I asked you what's wrong, it's nothing. And now you're demanding me to do something that you didn't let me sign for. Now, and that's a hard. I don't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. That's a hard statement for some to realize when somebody says, "I didn't sign up for that." And sometimes it's because they either ignored the signals that you were given. Then that's no excuse. But it is an excuse when they say, "I didn't sign up for it," because you didn't let them. You didn't bring out the contract, or you didn't show them the side of you that you needed the help for, so they can train to do it, so God can equip them, and they know what to ask God to help them with, to help you, and both of you in the growing this relationship. And now all of a sudden you're in a relationship, and you're at a point where you're being discovered where you're hurt at, and the person is saying, and you're saying to the person, "Well, I married you because I thought you could help me with this," and they look at you and say, "But you never showed me this. You never led me this far to know or get help from God to be able to grow into this to help you with. And it's not fair for an expectation that comes up all of a sudden, but you knew the requirements were there.
Or else you come forth with lying strengths.
Well, yes.
Pretending like you're okay. Pretending like you can handle it. When when your mate or your spouse know goodness well that you can't handle it, and there's something wrong, and sometimes it feels like another person in the relationship because you're hiding that area, because you have that area that says do not enter this room, or this is a don't cross this line zone, and you're saying I'm okay. That's lying strength.
Absolutely.
You don't have to lie and pretend like you're in a great strength, especially when you have, got somebody in your life, you feel God has them in your life, and then they're in your life for a reason and a purpose.
Right. Absolutely. And we need to be open. You said we got to be open. If you want this person, and this is the key thing, Pastor Flowers, if we want this relationship to be open, that means everybody is open and honest about what they're going into. You can't have an expectation that lies against the strength or the inabilities of the other person and expect them to respond when you decide, well, I'm just going to call you on it. That's not fair for the relationship, and that's why honesty needs to be. And I'm not saying the first day you meet them, all of a sudden, no, but I'm saying
they'll run away.
Yes, when you see it, like some people.
Okay, all right, yes. That's you. Okay.
Yes,
we'll be praying about it.
You meet a person one day, and all of a sudden they know your whole life. No, find out if I really believe this. Find out if they're worthy to share in what you've experienced. When you found out, because they stuck it out, that they're worthy to share in your experiences, don't cheat them. Don't you cheat them. I didn't say cheat on them. I said don't cheat them. And what do you mean by cheating them? Don't bring up all of a sudden after they fell into something that you modeled to them was you. Then all of a sudden you showed them something that was a part of you that you held back, and they said, "Well, why wasn't this part of the development of the relationship so both of us could mature in this?" Absolutely. Okay.
Another thing that sometimes people ask and require, especially with women. You remember the Archie Bunker on the Edith thing, and he would look at Edith and say, "Stifle." Don't stifle them.
Absolutely.
Because you just want to be the one that's being heard, don't stifle the other person, whether it's the man stifling the woman or the woman stifling the man, or as soon as they start to talk, you think you know which way they're going to talk, you think you know what they're going to say, and all what have you, then all of a sudden you trying to answer them quickly or talk fast over them just to talk them down or to shut them down or whatever, because you just don't have time. And this is what your body language is saying.
Absolutely.
This is what you're literally saying to them. You know what? I just don't have time for it. I already know what you're going to talk about. I don't want to hear it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to discuss it. And you haven't heard them. And sometimes people say, I want you to hear me, body, soul, and spirit.
Absolutely.
I want you to hear my body language before I even, open my mouth to say anything. You know me well enough to know what my body language is getting ready to say.
Come on.
Before I even say what I'm going to say, you know me spiritually, you know me enough, you know the passion of what I'm going to say.
Absolutely.
Know me. Get to know me in that area. And it only happens if I open up.
Absolutely.
If I open up.
Absolutely. One of the things that someone commented and said, and that's absolutely right, but I put a little bend on it, is that you have to be whole before you go in a relationship. And only bend I put on it is that we have to define whole. Whole doesn't mean that everything is all right. Whole doesn't mean I don't have any issues, any struggles, but it means that I'm honest with them. If I'm honest with myself, I'm honest with the person I'm having a relationship in, that everything is made whole and complete. Because there can be no help me one to another. There can be no covering. There can be no prayer partner. There can be nobody that supports you and stuff. Or God wouldn't ordain us or anoint us to be like that if there wasn't something that we need to help one another with. But one thing that we have to be whole about is our honesty. Yeah. We have to be able to deal with our lacks, our capacities, our struggles, the things that we sometimes find hardships with and stuff. If we're going to build a life with someone, we need to be honest enough with them to know where we're stopping, where we don't have the capacity to. And if this hinders your relationship going forward, then you can't push that relationship to a place that it can't live up to. And stuff. And I think that's and you said the key word. If we want to know each other, if you want that person to know who you are, you want them to love you completely. They can't love you completely until they know who you are. And they can't know who you are if you don't let them in. If you pretend like everything is okay and that you don't have any problems, you have no brokenness, or you have no issues in you, I guarantee they'll feel betrayed when they find out that you do.
Now I have a question. Let's say I'm just flipping it now. Let's say if you are trying to let them know you. You know, you're trying to open up some areas, but they don't seem interested. You know, they like you where you are, and they just rather you not open that Pandora's box, so to speak. They'd rather you not, you know, want to open up those other things because they're comfortable where they're at. How do you get healed in that area? How do you tell them, say, look, I need you to sit down, and I need you to hear some parts of me that I need your help with?
Well, three things, I think. I don't know, maybe two, maybe just one, I don't know, but I think it's two so far. Number one is this. If you have a person that's only interested in the image that you're showing them, and you know there's other layers to you, that means you may have a person that doesn't like to deal with confrontation. They may not like dealing with problems. They may hide when stuff come up. You may be the one,
with themselves.
even with themselves. You may be dealing with a person that may be lying with their presentation because they don't want to either lose you, or they may not like who they are underneath the first layer that they show you, and they may think you don't like them. So they're not going to share with you anything, so they don't ask you to share anything, because it looks like, it may feel like to them, if I let you share what's under your level, that's going to require me to share what's under my level. So to keep,
or it's going to require me to step up and do something.
Absolutely. Well, for one, and that first person may not worry about doing anything, because if they ask you not to say anything, they don't have to worry about doing anything because they don't have to share anything. So that's the first problem with it is. And secondly, so if they're not going to be open and honest with what's going on with them, and there may be some other layers that may not be productive to the relationship, and maybe they find some dysfunction in them and stuff. Can you imagine when you marry that person and things come up that they may either be a ticking bomb or a Richard Kimball, which means they're going to run away. They're going to be a fugitive in the relationship. So to set them down, not to get them to talk or listen to you, but to get them down, set them down to find out if you're willing to talk, if you're willing to listen. What areas in your life that you're holding back, and what other areas in your life that me talking about me in another layer will make you feel uncomfortable, or make you feel like you may not want to be a part of this. So you're not fighting for the relationship. You're fighting you're trying to discover if the person really wants a relationship, or they just want something to just settle in. And no relationship is ever productive if you're just going to settle in it.
Exactly.
That person needs to be open to you. They need to be real with you. If there's some things they need your help and prayer with, they need to reveal that. And don't just tell me after I say, oh, I do, that you have an issue or problem that you need me praying for, when we both could have got some prayer, some deliverance. One
of the worst things I think that happens in relationships is when people who are married or heading towards marriage is evasive about things.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If you feel you have to be evasive about it and talk around the block, around the bush about it, who can you be naked and not ashamed with? You got to be able to be open with that person.
I think sometimes, Pastor Hunt, that there are issues that men and women have going into relationships, and these issues have been so distracting to them in their single life that they're afraid that if I tell this person what I'm struggling with right now, this person may not want anything to do with me. And to be honest, that's most of, and to be honest, that may be true. And to be honest, I would not.
That says something.
Depends on what the level of it is. If this person, let's say for instance, and can we just be real? Let's say you're dating someone and he or she is struggling with pornography. Well, as long as they're struggling with pornography, you'll never have them. Or they're struggling with alcohol. If they're in it, alcohol or pornography, you'll never have this person.
There will always be like somebody else in the relationship.
Absolutely. Or they always be drawn when anything comes up that you have to deal with head on. Instead of coming to you and exposing themselves, I'm not talking about the issue now, but expose themselves how they're feeling, they'll run to the issue, they'll run to their bondage. Well, their defense is, well, I don't want to tell her or tell him that I'm struggling with pornography or struggling with alcohol, because the first thing they may think is that I'm some kind of pervert or some kind of alcoholic. Well, let's be real. If you're struggling with something and can't get out of it, now listen at this word. The enemy has perverted your desire or your passion towards sex if you're bound with pornography. Yeah. And guess what else? If you can't stop drinking, or you use alcohol as a place of resting instead of dealing, then you are alcoholic.
Yes, indeed.
So we have to deal with, if we're going to destroy the demon, let's name what he is. Yes. Let's not just say that's not me. That's just a momentary thing I'm going in. Well, listen, how momentary has it been? Has it been since you were able to buy drugs or sneak and find pornography? If it's been from those points to those points, then you are there. And we just need to get some deliverance. So there are those who may be calling these, and there's other issues that somebody may feel very personal about, feel very strong about, that if they reveal this to this person, then they may not want it. But it's not fair for that person to for you to marry that person, and they walk into an office one day and find on your computer that you're watching porn, and they say to you, and then let me ask this from a woman's point of view. Now, well, how does a woman feel when she walks in, and now she'll if he want to have sex, she'll give him sex, but he would rather go in and visually have sex on the screen with someone that he'll never meet. You know, from a woman's perspective, how does that make that woman feel?
Offended. You're offended because it's almost like a real person.
Absolutely.
You know, and we know that there's a lot of people that are involved in cyber sex, and so it's like you're committing adultery. You're committing cyber adultery, so to speak, and it hurts.
Absolutely.
It hurts, and you know, to the immature woman, I shouldn't call it immature woman, but to the insecure woman,
Who are feelings that got it
yeah, not immature, but to the insecure woman, she's going to begin to wonder what was wrong with me.
Right.
I never denied you. I never turned you down. I never, you know, put the brakes on and everything. I'm always there for you, but yet you got to go in here to the computer. What is wrong with me? Not realizing that these things are caused by, you know, after you've done it so long, now you have an evil spirit, you know, and you got
bound up, got a demon.
Yeah,
got a demon. Got a demon. But I think, Pastor, what has to happen is that these people are developing relationships with people that they can't trust.
Yes.
If you can't trust the person that you want to share the rest of your life with, then you don't need to develop a relationship with them. But if you really want to fight, and I encourage anybody, whether you're single or married, if you want to build a real life with the person that you're married to, don't let demons tell your spouse or your potential what's going on with you.
Yeah, you
tell them. But I mean, don't wait till they get you to a place where they start uncovering you, where they things start getting messy around your life. Tell them before they get there, because that person has more strength and more care about you because they're with you. Can I be honest with you? They know when your spouse. If you really,
they might not know exactly
what it is,
but they know.
Absolutely, they know
because
something.
It's like, you know, even though you got it shut behind the door, there's a crack under the door and they smell it.
Absolutely.
Something don't smell right about this situation. Something don't smell right in this relationship. Something don't feel right in this relationship.
Feel like we get a third person in the bed.
Like there's a third person here.
Absolutely.
Even though you know it's not physically a third person there, but it feels like there's somebody else in the relationship.
Absolutely.
So it behooves the both to sit down and discuss it and talk about it.
Absolutely.
And don't just talk about it, do something about it.
Do something about it.
Don't keep telling me that you got to get delivered. Don't keep telling me that this is a bondage. Don't keep telling me this is a stronghold. I want to know what you're doing about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, are you embracing it?
Absolutely.
Or are you resisting it like the Bible says?
Absolutely. And that's in every issue. We use that one because that's a big attack that the enemy is waging against church, against marriage. And guess what else too? I said this years ago. We talked about this for many years. The marriage breaking spirits in many cases don't start after you get married. Some start before you get married. They set you up for failure by bringing in issues and stuff that you have to hide, and that takes advantage against the ability to grow close and united in your marital relationship. And you find yourself struggling with marriage breaking spirits, and you think to yourself, wait, where does this come from? Why are we struggling to stay married, stay connected, stay joined? Because what we didn't deal with going into marriage, that were relationship breakers, now entered into your marriage, and before you know it, you're on the place of emotional divorce, and you don't know how you got there. So we need to deal with these issues.
And I like what you was talking about just then, the emotional divorce, because there's a lot of relationships that are in the state of emotional divorce, but still together.
Absolutely. So we absolutely need to deal with these things. We need to deal with our issues, whatever they are. And please let's get stuck on this, the drugs and the alcohol. I mean, the alcohol and the porn, because there's other issues that people struggle with. There's emotional issues. There are people that are afraid in relationships. They're afraid to connect. They're afraid to commit and stuff. And they go through all the right things that they need to say, all the right things that they need to do. But on the inside, they feel pressure. They feel shaken. They feel afraid and stuff. They're not going to tell you that they're going to hold a big smile on their face, but inside they're afraid. They're shaken. They have emotional anxieties and fears and stuff. They're not going to tell you. They're going to do whatever it needs to keep you in their life, because in some degree you are a safety net for them. But you cannot push them to another level and stuff of being open and being aware with you, because that door is closed by the issues that they're struggling with on the inside.
You know, another bad part about it is when people are struggling with sicknesses and they don't feel that they can tell their spouses
Yes.
because their spouse, they don't know how their spouse is going to take it.
Absolutely.
They may reject them. They may feel like, now I'm a burden to them. So now I'm going to go through this, whether, let's say with females, whether they're dealing with breast cancer or other female problems. If they don't have a husband that they feel that they have given them that platform to be able to be weak for a moment. You can't be superwoman all the time. There's some things that you might want to cry about a little bit, but you want somebody there with you, not crying in defeat, but you go through those emotions. You need to be able to lean on that person without them wanting to run away because they're afraid of the problem.
Absolutely, and that's what we're talking about. Let's talk about another one that men may experience and stuff. And instead of dealing with it head on and stuff, they underestimate the love and care that the wife had for them. If he may be having struggles, and we're being real, may have an ED problem. Not having a rectal dysfunctional problem. And instead of going and talking to her and seeing how they can solve the problem, he acts out frustration and anger and stuff, and she's wondering why he doesn't want anything to bother, he doesn't want anything to bother with her and stuff. But he's not going to tell her it's not that he doesn't want anything to bother with her. He's having some problems right now, and they may be temporary. Some of these problems may come on because of stress, may come on because you have to check some of the medicine that you may be taking, or other issues that you may be struggling with and stuff that is easily solved through prayer and sometimes through some medicine. But you need to be open with one another enough to be able to share those issues or struggles that you may be having,
and
so the enemy won't give the other man. Absolutely. But when you said it earlier, when you keep those same things secret, then all of a sudden the enemy gives an answer to those things. And now when you may have a solution, or when there's a solution offered, or you get over that situation, now you have created a history of that other spouse feeling like you rejected them, didn't want to part with them. So now you're reaching out to them, and now they're not responding. And you think to yourself, why aren't you responding? What's wrong with you? And they're not going to come right out and open because they don't know what else goes along with it. It's hard to argue when there's no real information that's been given. So all you do is give a pat response. Well, right now, just don't, I'm going through some things.
Say, when you have the answers, you need to be the one to give the answers to your spouse.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't give the answers, the enemy will.
Absolutely. And it's hard to fight against someone who's giving them an answer through the times when you were silent. And through the times when you were silent, the enemy was constantly giving answers, and you were running away. That's on both sides, not just the situation I brought up, but the situation on both sides where you may be going through some things that has caused you to withdraw or caused you to draw back, and you're not giving any answers, although the person is asking for answers. You're not giving any answers. But all along, the enemy's giving answers. That frustration is causing answers to come. And now when you get over that, or you get past it, or you're ready to talk, you're reaching out to this person. This person doesn't seem to be there that you're reaching out to and stuff. And you're asking them what's wrong, and
you left them in last week.
Yes. So they don't
last week when they wanted to talk and you shut down, you left them there. And now you want to talk, and they're not there yet.
Now, for a second, sorry about that. Something kicked in and looked like it was trying to cut off on us. Amen. So, amen. Please share it with someone. Thank you all for joining us on this afternoon. Hopefully we'll be saying something that will encourage you and bless you. Please share it. Let people know that we're on. Even after we go on, please share it. I hope we said something that will be a blessing to you. But Pastor Flowers, it's about being intimately connected to the relationships that you're in. Enough to be open and honest. You know what? No single going in a relationship that's willing to hide who they really are can convince anyone, especially God, that they're serious about their relationship. Amen. God bless you. Listen, I don't know what happened. I was trying to say that our feed wasn't strong, but our feed is strong. I don't know what's going on, except that I believe my glass even looked cooking, and that wasn't cooked as well done, but it looked right cooking. You see, I don't know what's going on, but I think it's a battle of the enemy. I don't think the enemy wanted that broadcast to get out. I don't think he wanted us to finish saying, but we're back on. We're going to finish the broadcast and finish saying what the Lord was giving us. But again, Pastor, one of the things that I think we're saying at the end was that we have to be, I think was going up the question that you gave, we have to be open and honest and upfront, because our intimacy and connections depend on it. So
there's so many people that mistake physical connection with emotional connection, and they feel like as long as they're doing the physical connection that they have satisfied the relationship and satisfied everybody else in the relationship, when in actuality they've left someone hanging.
Absolutely, and that's the key thing we were going. Sometimes people end up in these physical relationships, and they're just fulfilling the physical part of it because they felt that the interaction or the things that they were doing led to some physical interaction. And everybody may get some enjoyment out of physical interaction, but the emotional part is still left over.
That's right.
And you don't want to leave any spouse or anything just as far as just got to be married people. We're talking about sex. You don't want to just have sex and not connect with the person emotionally. And then when you need somebody to lean on or somebody to pull, you haven't invested in anything. And one of the things that we was hoping to get to, and we'll just do it on the next broadcast, if we don't get it on this one, is that we need to display acts of love, consideration, and care that the other person can measure.
Yeah.
If that other person can't measure it, y'all, it's futile and it's dysfunctional and it's counterproductive to the relationship. I want to have a testimony in your heart, not just in your body, but in your heart. I want you to know. And when the enemy tries to press thoughts in your mind that I'm not there, I want my reputation in your heart and in your emotions to be able to tell the enemy you're lying, because I sense, I felt, I know, I hear, and I've seen him being there. And that's the thing. I felt, I sensed, I seen, and I know him being there. If that is not the testimony of the spouses that people that's in your life, then y'all, it is always going to have an open door to come in and bring problems in your marriage.
And if that's not a testimony, when they're not there, what are you missing?
Yes.
If you're feeling better when they're out of the house, something is wrong.
Absolutely.
When they're not around you for a while, you should be missing what the assets are that they bring to the relationship. But when they're not around for a while and you feel more comfortable, you can go get in the tub and say, Caroline, take me away.
I want to ask you a question since you brought it up. How you feel when if I'm at the house and looking on that tub?
I want you to hurt me get back.
Okay. Do you like be tears rolling down your eyes?
Oh no, I ain't be tears rolling down.
Where are you at? Well, I love him. I just wanted.
No, I ain't that bad.
Hey man, I know you miss me though. I know. But this is all, we should have that kind of reputation and concern with one another. And please understand, this is not smothering. It's just that this person means so much to you that you love the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And it feels better when they're around.
Yeah.
And stuff.
We gotta just let each other know.
Absolutely.
Down here it says, if you love me, show me.
Absolutely.
If you love me, tell me.
Absolutely.
If you love me, connect with me.
And don't just tell me because it's the right word to say.
Exactly.
When you're around.
The real word.
Absolutely.
The real word to say.
Your words, they cannot be just words. If your words of I love me, and then you see it so much in church, so many Christian people will tell you I love you, I love you, I love you and stuff. Yeah. And I was thinking about this today, Pastor Foster. It's amazing how you brought this up, and then we moved to this situation. That most Christian people will tell you, I love you, and it's based off I have to love you because I don't want to go to hell. No, you got another option. You don't have to love me. But if you want to love me, both of us can benefit from that. Not what you give me, but what we experience together. And when love is real in any relationship, not because you have to, but because you want to, we both grow from that. Exactly. And we'll take the moments we need to prove in actions, attitude, and consideration that what you said is real. Yes. Amen.
And not only that, if you love me, my next question I would ask, well, are you in love with me?
What do you mean?
How deep do you love me?
Say it.
Are you in love with me?
Come on.
I love my dog. I love my cat.
Mm-hmm.
But that don't mean I'm in love with them.
Come on. Amen.
And you tell me you love me, I need to know, okay, I can buy that right now. Mm-hmm. But then I want to know, are you in love with me?
Absolutely.
What value do you put on me?
Sometimes people look at that when you use the word love and are you in love with me? And they think that's a play on words. Mm-hmm. But when you love someone, it's a casual look or view of someone of concern and care that's at a distance. But when you're in love with someone, I'm talking about relationship, when you're in love with someone, you're in a ditch with them. You're in wherever they go at to make sure that both come out healthy and well, and you do what it takes to make sure everybody's whole when it's finished. Exactly. When you're just in love, like most Christians, you see most Christians, they say they love people, they care about people, they stand at a distance many times and stuff. But when you're in love with something, you're on the battlefield with them, and you're honest about the battle that's going on and what they're going. You're there with them.
You're there with them.
And you don't let your own issues get in the way of what's necessary to help them at the moment of their challenge.
And when you're in love with them and you're having an issue with them, you're not going to try to break them.
Absolutely.
And that's what I was head down here. If you love me, then you won't try to break me.
Absolutely.
Even when I'm wrong, or even when we're in a discussion, You're not going to try to break me just to prove that you're right.
Absolutely.
Because when you see that it's taking a toll on me, the love that you have for me is going to cause you to back up.
Absolutely.
Because that's not where you wanted to take me to.
Absolutely.
You didn't want to
Absolutely.
break me.
Absolutely.
You just wanted to talk.
Absolutely.
You know?
And again, you said the key word, Pastor Flowers. Even if you're wrong, and that's the key thing that people that us in relationships need to understand. Me being right should not be the ultimate cause of an end of a relationship.
Exactly.
You know, what she's doing, what we've done, the thing that my wife has done, if I don't like it and stuff, may be a legitimate dislike for it. But she should never be the target of a weapon that I use to prove I'm right when she's wrong. Especially if we're having a conversation and I'm talking to her about something I don't like that she does. If I see it's breaking her heart, if her spirit drops, she can't communicate wholly. If her spirit drop, I'm not talking to her now at a position where we can do something with it. I'm talking to her at a position now that the only one gonna come out winning in this is the enemy.
Yeah.
That's the only one gonna win in this and stuff. So we have to be, if we're in love with someone, we'll have this automatic break system to understand, and we'll know she don't have to say anything. Don't have to say anything. I just feel it. She don't have to cry. I just feel it. And when you're connected and you're in love, you feel when you said too much or too strong. Yes, or when you said enough. When you know that, you don't keep going because you say you want to end this situation. It's not going to end if the person that you're talking to comes out hurt. If your spouse is broken and hurt with the end of your conversation, this is not over, because you're going to have to live with that pain and those walls that you just built in your spouse, and that one day you're going to have to try to
And if it's okay with you to break her like that, or to break him like that, if it's okay with you to see them spiritually wounded and everything, then there's something wrong with your love.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because love worketh no ill to his neighbor, including your spouse.
Absolutely. And this stuff, sometimes we talk, well, if it's in me, it's just got to come out. Get some deliverance, and then what's in you come out right.
Yeah.
Because we should never have to sacrifice our spouse for the attitude of boldness, for the attitude of, well, that's just my way. Well, if anybody understands who walks in a successful, loving relationship, to know that there are some things you would like to say.
Yeah.
Listen, and you know what? We use the same kind of tempers when we deal with other people. There are people that said things to you outside your home that you thought to yourself, boy, I would like to say some things to you, but you know what? I'm a Christian, I'm not going to say it. Those same principles need to be used in the building or securing or upbuilding of your relationship when you're talking to your spouse. If you're not gonna say certain things that's gonna hurt that brother, that sister outside of your home, we should have that same consideration when we're dealing with each other inside our homes. There needs to be a breaking system, a system of emotional connection, consideration that, you know what, I think I said enough. So let me regroup so I can make sure the words that I'm gonna say from this point is productive to both of us.
Especially if there's children involved.
Absolutely.
If there's children involved, they don't need to see you tearing at one another like that.
Absolutely.
You showing them that this is okay. You say you love them, but yet it's okay to break them all the way down to the point where they're, mush.
Absolutely. And again, we at the beginning of this teaching, I guess it'll be in two parts, because one is already going on and stuff, but and we don't really know what happened. But as we said in the beginning of this teaching, we always want to be honest and open. Yes, be honest and open. But honesty and openness doesn't mean you have to be bitter, nasty, harsh, or lacking consideration.
Yes. And you can still get said what you need to get said. But there's a way to get those things said. That's one thing with talking to one another or talking at one another and reasoning together.
Absolutely. And let's go back right quickly, because I see our time is running up real quickly and stuff. One of the things I want to go back to and hit is that whatever your issues, because we hit on this kind of a while, whatever struggles you find yourself, but again, we talk about sicknesses, we talk about struggles, we talk about operations, or things that you may have in your life that make a life change and stuff. You want to be honest and open about those things. But the things you don't want to talk about, you may need to go get a mediator. You may need to get some help. You may need to pray. And the reason why I'm saying it is because you need to be forced to talk about those things. And I know a lot of people may disagree with that. I have no problem with you disagreeing with it. But if you don't force a person to talk, you won't find out one or two things: that they really want to talk or they really don't want to talk. If you don't get them to force them or push them put them in a place that you have to put up or define why you're not.
Now I have a question. Let's say if you want them to talk and they keep saying, "Look, I got this. I'm handling this. but they're not handling it
Mm-hmm.
because it's coming out in other ways.
Absolutely.
Even in the way sometimes of being snappy. You ask them something and they snap.
Yeah.
And you saying to yourself, that wasn't needed.
Right.
Well, I just asked you, pass me the ketchup, or you know how it's just right there. And you're going, well, where'd that come from? It came from you not handling it.
Absolutely. And that's what needs to be brought up. That's what I'm saying. We need, look, we can, a lot of spouses, and not just men, but women and men, get away with exposing themselves to their spouse because they use these kind of tactics.
Exactly.
They get frustrated, they get angry, and the other person who's considerate or maybe afraid or maybe just don't want the confrontation or the engagement, and they okay, if you say you got it, no problem, but whatever. And they go on, and it doesn't just stop at that issue. It stops at other areas, and they begin to spread the same kind of tactic of shutting that person down by showing a bad attitude. Well, if you're going to be responsible for the relationship on both ends, you can't keep letting each other do that. Exactly. If you're frustrated because of what you're going through, then let me in because I may have some help with you to help you do this thing. And if I really want the relationship, if it's not about you, if my frustration isn't about you, and this is a key thing, and we have to consider this, and we have to be honest about this. If my frustration isn't about you, I don't mind sharing with you who it's about or what it's about. But when you don't tell me what it's about, and you keep telling me it's not about me, but I keep getting the blunt of it, but you're not dealing with what's caused you that, then I have to think it must be about me. Because the only common denominator that brings you this frustration is me. So if you're not sharing it with me and it's not changing, then how can you tell me it's not about me? And in all honesty, it may not be about me, but you can't tell me that's an illegitimate thought if you won't share with me what the legitimate behavior is coming from. Where the behavior is coming from, not legitimate behavior, but where the behavior is coming from. What's the legitimate source of your behavior? If you're not willing to share that with me, then you can't tell me my thoughts about, because I'm getting the blunt of it, that my thoughts of thinking it's about me is illegitimate, because it's not. You won't share anything else with me. And I don't mean to be redundant about it, but that's the thing, that when spouses go in these pauses of frustration and the other's trying to reach in and they keep closing the doors, I got it. Why you keep asking these questions? Because I'm asking these questions because of the person that was first revealed to me by you was not like this. Exactly. You were willing to share some things, but now I'm realizing those things that you were sharing with me were easy shares. But this thing seems to be difficult, and this thing seems to be backing you in the corner, and you don't want me to come in the corner to get you, or at least stand with you so we can find out how to deal with this. So now they develop an idea that maybe this is about me. So here's the scary thing that start happening. They start backing out the marriage. They start backing out the marital relationship. Why? Because,
like you were saying a while ago, emotional divorce.
Absolutely. They start backing out.
Emotional separation, but still right there in the same house, and you're talking at each other, and you're tolerating each other, and you're putting on the front called marriage.
Absolutely. So it's really an easy fix. There's nothing in a relationship where both people want to work at it and willing to be honest and open. That there's no conflict or discord or dysfunction that cannot be solved. Nothing. But it takes both people working on it. Yeah. Know me, love me, consider me, talk to me, value me. All these things can be done. But that word value, you can't value what you don't know. You can't value what you don't know. You can value the person in presence, but value goes beyond that you're just here. Exactly. Value goes what I do when you're not around, how I consider you when you're not around, and stuff. That takes a value. But if I don't know you, it's hard for value to have that kind of discipline with me. And
if you can't value me, you're not going to value the relationship.
Absolutely. So, and again, both of them have a part to play in this. Don't hide behind things and expect that person to come to find you. And when they find you, then you tell them, go get it. I got it. I got it. And that's not fair. Intimacy is a powerful thing. And it will solve and cause to be solved any conflicts in any marital relationship. And I mean this to the core. It will cause any conflicts and challenges that any marital relationship may face.
It will.
Amen. Okay, man.
All right. Want to read this?
Yes.
Okay. One paragraph. It says, no matter how much we claim a desire to have a healthy relationship connection, if we will not realize and do what it takes to make a good and healthy relationship connection, your spouse or your potential will always have to be a slave to your dysfunctional and unbalanced definition of what they should be, or what you require from them, or what you feel of what they should be doing.
Amen. Now listen, We got to give it. We're almost finished here, but we're gonna pick this up on the next broadcast. But so many times, Pastor Flowers, people go into relationships, and this not just in marital relationships, even in families. This law or this principle is used. We require from people stuff based on the title that connects them to me.
Whether it's mom, dad, husband, wife.
Yeah. But and we expect them. We have expectations for them to do things, to act a certain way. When we have not lived up to the other side, that makes what we're expecting from them legitimate and fair to want, fair to desire. And I'm gonna leave it at that because we're gonna talk about this again on the next broadcast. It's nothing wrong to appreciate and even acknowledge the connections that we have. And even this is about the whole family. It's nothing wrong with acknowledging that. But don't expect from them something that you think goes with the title that connects them with you when you're not doing what's expected from you, what connects you as a title to them.
It's like a bank account. If you don't put any money in, you can't get any money out.
Two-way street.
But if you put money in, you can get money out with interest.
Absolutely. Two-way street. Two-way street. Listen, time went by fast. Got a little interrupted this while ago by the internet thing. Must be storming somewhere. I don't know. You see no lightning outside, but that's okay. Again, we so appreciate you joining us. We appreciate every week that we have the broadcast that you come on, and you, it's just a blessing and an encouragement to us. We're not doing this again, and we said this many times in the beginning. We're not doing this because of trying to make fame or anything. We care about, honest to goodness, we care about relationships. We think and pray over everything that we do. We don't say things for high shock value. We say things because that's what the Lord puts in our heart, and we want to see marriages healthy.
Oh yeah. And
if marriages and families are healthy, churches and communities healthy.
We want to see marriages happy, and we want to see people marrying the right people.
Absolutely, absolutely. After we get finished with this series, we'll go jump back to the singles. But we just enjoy this. We're excited about it. Pastor Flowers is still working on her being comfortable coming on. And stuff. She still works, but she looks good, and she really does. She looks good. I'm so glad and happy. And I'm not saying this for your sake. I'm saying it because that's how I feel. I'm so happy that she's here. I couldn't do this by myself. She's just an awesome blessing to me, and I think, and I believe this is the best thing that God could ever brought in my life. And I just love her, and I appreciate her. I would not be. I don't care what nobody says. I love you, baby. I would not be anything if it wasn't for her.
Love you. Proud of you.
Amen.
Yeah.
So, but we
support you, got your back.
I know you do.
You know I got your back.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. I'm gonna have some meatloaf in a minute. She gonna cook some meatloaf for me in a minute, y'all.
Well, yeah, I'm ready to go cook some meatloaf.
Yes, sir. So I gotta let y'all go because I smell it ain't even done. Look. So, but listen.
I made it earlier and put it in the refrigerator.
Yes, sir. I was smelling it too. It was in the refrigerator. Wasn't even cooking. But let me say this to you before we close. We don't know what area you're in and stuff and what churches you go through, but if the Lord deals with you and you feel like you want to bring time and empowerment to your church or to your area, please drop us a line and let us know. We'll be glad to bring time and empowerment to your churches and to your areas because marriages need to be ministered to.
Oh, yeah.
Relationships and families need to be ministered to. But we thank God. Please.
You don't have to live like that.
No.
You can be happy. You can enjoy one another. Absolutely. You can rekindle the fire. You can regroup the intimacy, the emotional intimacy. Absolutely. It can be saved. It can be revived.
Absolutely. If you will, my daughter's Eva Tony Delicious is on here. If you will type down the contact numbers in the what you call those things, comment areas, please, so you can contact. If you would like for us to bring time and empowerment in your area. But listen, we thank you. We're so glad to see so many of you joining us. Please share this video. Share both of them. It'll be 2 videos for the same day, part 1 and part 2. But we thank God again from our bottom of our hearts. Keep us in prayer.
Yes.
God bless you. And we hope that you'll join us again on our next broadcast. God bless you.